Joining me now to discuss the crisis at the U.S. border under Joe Biden and what's happening now under President Donald Trump is San Diego County Supervisor Jim Desmond. Jim, thanks so much for joining me on the U.S. Report. I wanted to get you on here to talk about this story that broke this week about two hikers being shot at the U.S.-Mexico border in San Diego County by what have been described as suspected cartel members. Tell us about it.
Well, unfortunately, this happened just recently, and the cartels and the smugglers are so brazen that they're actually bringing people across our border illegally, and they're bringing them armed. Or the smugglers are armed, and when they came across two people who were just hiking, they told them to get away, and they didn't right away. They ended up shooting them twice in the leg. One of the individuals who's a U.S. citizen. So, I mean, it's just unfortunately how the cartels have reacted to getting people across the border. So now that they do it armed with weapons, and they're using them.
Well, Jim, the last time we spoke down very near where that happened on the border. It is a beautiful part of the country and a beautiful part of the world. But it seems like, to me, I'm hearing more about this happening all the way along through the California border, along the Arizona side of the border as well. This seems like a real assault on American sovereignty, that there's parts of America that are dangerous to Americans because you've got these foreign actors coming over the fence.
Oh, absolutely, and mostly it's the cartels, and they're feeling the pinch now since the President Trump has shut down the border essentially. We used to have hundreds or thousands of people coming across a day during the Biden administration, and now it's less than 50. I mean, it's really shown a big decrease in the number of people coming across, which now is emboldening the cartels and these smugglers, to go to more drastic measures, and it's making it more unsafe, like you said, along our border across this part of the country. But hopefully, Trump, I give him all the kudos in the world for what he's doing on the border. He's actually enforcing the laws that should have been enforced 4 years ago.
Well, this, though, is absolutely fascinating to me because, you talk about the good things the Trump administration is already doing down there on the border. I look at this and I see Trump derangement syndrome everywhere because now the left, via the New York Times, is running articles saying that, hey, maybe we shouldn't go after the cartels because, get this, labeling cartels, this is a story in the New York Times, labeling cartels as terrorists could hurt the U.S. economy. Jim, what is your reaction to that?
That's just a joke. I mean, this is just more words and labeling. That's what unfortunately the left does is label people to divide us. We don't need these labels. If somebody's a terrorist, they're a terrorist. And you can't say that's going to hurt our economy in any way at all. Unfortunately, it's been, divide and conquer instead of let's work on our strengths. Let's give people more opportunities. Let's people, be themselves. And it's without all these labels that they're using. And to me, this is just, they're using the same ammunition and they got defeated last time. So I think they're just digging their hole even deeper.
And finally, Jim, before I let you go, among the people who've been coming across the border for all these years, are you expecting to see many of them just simply look at the new regime that's come into power in the U.S. and say, you know what, maybe we should go back across the border because there's not a future for us here living illegally?
Well, potentially, yes, because particularly if you commit a crime. Like right now, I met with Tom Homan. He's the new border czar, and I'm glad we are deporting the criminals that are in our jails or committed crimes here, and they're here illegally. I'm happy to see that. But I hope it's the message, to the people that came across here, don't hang out with any criminals because if you may be arrested if you're in the same house with somebody who's committed a heinous crime. So I think, the message hopefully they're receiving is keep your head down low. Don't commit a crime. You may get picked up. We had millions of people come across the border illegally. I don't know how we're ever going to find them all. But I do think, the focus has to be deporting those criminals that are in our jails, deporting anybody, particularly people that have been deported several times. They should be deported right away as well. We got to clean it up. We got to secure our border. And then we got to work on a system that actually works so that people can immigrate into our country, which we want, legally and they're properly vetted, so we let the good people in and keep the bad people out.
Jim Desmond, can't say any fairer than that. Thank you so much for your time on the U.S. Report.